Hello and welcome to another Talking To episode. I'm your host Teddy, and today I'm being joined once again by
Aiden.
And today we're going to be talking about the TMNT 2003 Season 1 Episode 26, Search for Splinter Part 2. So, what do you think about this episode briefly?
Well, this episode was a bit confusing for me, and it was just completely different to what I had in store. Like, it was completely different to what I was thinking or what I had for this episode. This episode was just complete utter mind blast, to be honest. I just wasn't expecting anything in this episode. But yeah, that's all I can say at this point, because I'm still trying to process what actually happened still. Like, it's just really confusing and weird, but maybe we can go over some bits and maybe you could help me unravel what I've just watched.
Yeah, I mean, I got a feeling like with some bits. I was thinking about when I wrote down notes for this. Like, I mean, there are those certain scenes which we won't talk about just because like pretty much pointless. But like with some scenes, I'm giving it a lot of time to, just because I know like the Utrum stuff and all that. I got a feeling I'm gonna need to explain a lot of stuff. Okay, so let's just start off, because I don't think we have too much to really say about the Mikey and Don thing at the beginning. Like, we all know that they survived and stuff like that. But we do have the Casey and April scene where Casey was fighting off the Utrum guards and he's using the electric stick, and that's when basically Casey and April come in contact again and they leave the building on like a hovercraft thing. What do you think about that scene?
To be honest, that was kind of interesting to watch, because we got to see I can't remember his name, Dr. Utron or Dr. something Doctor, and he was a weird character, and of course we got to see the other characters as well. And like I said, I'm still really confused on what actually happened, because some eyes were glowing, some eyes weren't. You didn't know whether they were human or whatever they were. I really don't know, but yeah, apart from that, I didn't have too much to say. However, I did pick up on a small detail with Casey and April. It was subtle, but I could see their relationship developing. Like, I know it's really subtle and most people may overlook it, but I saw that when they escaped on the hovercraft or whatever it was they escaped on, there was a kind of like subtle flirtings, like, oh, you did good yourself and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I do think that,
and of course you see Casey blushing.
Yeah, I do think that like the subtlety was there, and I do think that like going off of this little bit here, you can definitely tell that like this was like the true start of like any sort of like relationship that like they were trying to develop in the show. And I must admit, it's quite nice like looking back on it now and just like seeing it's like sort of start here and all that. And I must admit, with this scene, I don't really too much really say about this, because it's one of those things that just happened. But Casey with his electric stick, I absolutely loved it. Where like he goes and then stop working and goes, ah, crap. I don't know, it's just Casey. And then another thing which I wouldn't really say complaint, but like I questioned a bit. Was and basically when Casey and April went out of the room on the hoverboard thing, and Dr. Mortu basically says that this is devastating and stuff like that, they didn't go after them, and I'm pretty sure the hoverboard thing isn't really that fast, so I'm pretty sure they could have caught up to them. That's my only sort of like real complaint in a way, but yeah. Okay, so then going into the next scene where we do get to see the turtles actually inside of the Utrum base and all that, and they sort of like go through like a maze of different rooms and doors. What do you think about that scene?
To be honest, I don't know what to say. It was just a complete. It was like it was like, how can I describe this? Did you used to watch Scooby-Doo as a kid?
That's exactly what I was about to say. It felt
Scooby-Doo
vibes.
Scooby-Doo vibes, where all the gangs running in and out the rooms are getting chased by the monster. The monster's chasing them. They're chasing the monster.
Yeah.
It just gave me Scooby-Doo vibes all round, and that was I just loved that, because it brought me back to like the childhood of watching Scooby-Doo as a kid. and just watching it just reminded me of Scooby-Doo so much, of all the different doors and the maze like set layout. It was just really, really weird and cool to see at the same time.
Yeah, I must admit, I just now, after watching this episode for like nearly 20 years, it's all like caught on to me for like, it was all like Scooby-Doo in a way, and it really did give me a lot of those vibes, which I don't think worked well for like the mystery and stuff like that, and was very, I want to say, a little bit cringy in a way in terms of like the music and how things done. It's not bad, but it's just has that kind of feel, and yeah. So yeah, basically after that we do get to see the two teams go off in two different directions. Okay, so do you want to talk about Leo? So which one would you like to talk about first? Leo, Raph, or Mikey and Don?
Ooh, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. Maybe we should talk about Donnie and Mikey, because they're the first to enter the whatever that is. I'm not too sure what room they entered. It was really weird. I don't even know how to describe what they entered. It just reminded me of so much of like the organic and technological mass of like the Matrix. If any of you have seen the Matrix, it's really weird and it's kind of disgusting at the same time, because it's all organic mixed with like technology and then like growing stuff, and it's super weird, and it's all I can imagine is like it's the Matrix. Like they've entered the Matrix, and I swear Donnie or Mikey says it's like the Matrix itself in this episode alone, unless I'm just hearing things again.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we do say at some point in the episode. Okay, so Mike and Don, they go down an elevator after seeing multiple different rooms of basically the same, and that is when they go into this big Ultron tech room. Okay, so let's start off with the tech room, because what did you think about that with all the different techs and stuff like that? Well, I'm really interested to hear like, all like the theories going off in your head at that point.
The techs? Is that the room that they entered?
You know, like the room where the Ultrons were getting like washed and all that.
That room, right? Because I was thinking that the big main room that looked like a giant stomach. That's what I just can't get out of my head at this moment.
Yeah. So what do you think about like that room? Like, do you have any like theories going off in your head because of all the tech and that?
It was really creepy, and of course when they peeled the skin off, it was I was not expecting that at all. I'm like, what the, like his skin's peeling off, like you can see the goo and the ickiness of the whole situation, and I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, this is actually like, this is really like it's super cool and disturbing at the same time, because he's just peeled off this human skin and it's all gooey, it's all slimy, and of course then you just see this giant robot with like a piece of pink gum inside of it. It was just really weird and creepy, and I say this again, I'm probably going to say this so many times in this episode, but Matrix vibes all around, like the techno organicness that Donnie says quite a lot. It's literally just reminding me of the Matrix so much, and it's just cool and creepy at the same time.
Okay. So going off to that, because I know in the last episode we were talking about the mysterious side of things, and you were saying about the Krang sort of things, and in this episode we do get the reveal that basically these are Ultrons. Like, what was your like thought process behind all that? Like, was you still thinking it's Krang and stuff like that, or are you still very confused about the whole situation?
To be honest, I really did thought it was the Krang, and I had no idea about the Ultron side of things till the last bit of the episode. Like it was super confusing. Like, who is the Ultron? Are they completely different to the Krang, or are they like the same species, or like a subspecies, or they just been called differently in this series? And like I said, I'm still majorly confused on what is going on.
Okay, so the Ultron stuff is really interesting with the turtle lore, just because in the original comics, the Utroms are. I think the best way to describe them is basically like they are essentially the Krang. However, in the original comics, they were called the Utroms, the aliens, and it's not exactly a big spoiler or anything, but and the Utroms are actually friendly. And basically, when it came around to creating the first TV show, they decided to use the Utroms. However, they decided to only use only use one character, and they called them Krang. And because of the success of that show, it's all led on to other versions of the Turtles using Krang as being the big character and stuff like that. So when you do get to the 2012 show, when they do have a lot of inspiration from the 7th show, they did decide to use Krang as the alien race. However, it is actually supposed to be the Utrom race. And even though this show is more comeback accurate, this was why I went down that route of using the Utroms. Hopefully that makes sense.
Right.
So yeah, and then going into the next scene, we do get to see the Utrom Council calls in the Guardian as well as Dr. Mortu, and they reveal that basically the Guardian had a track on him. They show off the tech which was using to break in, and they're saying that this whole building is in lockdown now and stuff like that. What do you think about that scene?
To be honest, I was very confused, because this is where my mind just went blank after this. After hearing about the Utron secret that has been kept a secret for decades, and now they're afraid that their secret is going to be leaked out to the human populace. That was just really, really weird. To be honest, I still don't understand who is an Utron or Krang. I'm still trying to figure out whether a Guardian is Krang, or whether the Doctor is Krang, or Utron, sorry. It is just merging together, and my mind is still processing Utron, Krang, technology. It's just really, really messed up, and it's don't get me wrong, it's interesting, and I am absolutely, I'm liking it, but I really wish I understood it.
Yeah, I mean, I do like the Utrom reveal, because I feel it opens up this universe to be a much bigger thing and expand it in a natural, good way. And I would say a good comparison to what the Utrom stuff do in this episode is what I'd say is what they did with the Notes from the Underground episode, where basically they were developing this universe with the history, the lore, and stuff like that. And with this little bit here, just open up this universe to be in a much bigger place with aliens and stuff like that. I think that worked really well, and for them basically revealing that and need to go home and stuff like that, it's also opened up a lot more lore and history to this universe, which I just love, and it's just really fascinating. And it's a shame that I don't really go into a lot more, because I feel so that there's a lot you could do, but with TV shows and movies and stuff like that, you don't have much time to explore it. But going off your thing about you don't really know who is an Utrom and stuff like that, do you want me to explain who is an Utrom and who isn't?
Yes, I would like to know what is going on.
Okay, so basically the Utroms, everyone is basically an Utrom in that building except from the Guardians. Do you want any sort of history about the Utroms in terms of what they've been on this universe, in this universe, or do you want to have that little bit revealed later on?
Does it get revealed later on in the series, or
it does get revealed later on?
Long-winded.
But there's, I mean, I can explain some stuff without spoiling the big bits, but I can explain a little bit to hopefully help make things a bit easier, explain logic behind stuff and all that. Yeah,
go on then, because like I said, I have no clue what's going on.
Okay, so the Utroms have been around for thousands of years. They crash landed on Earth, and they've been using the remains of their technology from the ship to rebuild, and also waiting long enough for Earth technology to actually be able to be good enough for them to build a way for them to go home. and that was like what the that teleport at the end was. That was and that's the thing that I was going to use to go home. Hopefully that helps a bit.
Oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. Okay, so going into the next scene, we do have the Utrons, so self-alarms saying Vatols are there. We do have a really cool fight. We do get to see Leo and Raph take on the Utrons. What do you think about that scene?
That was pretty cool, I must say. That was like the first proper fight scene that we got to see in this episode, that we got to see Raph and Leo, they're fighting the Utron. And I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty weird to see the Utron and how they actually work. Like, they just fly around on these little, like, discs, which are somehow, like, lasers attached to them as well. And it was just really interesting to see this sort of version of the Utron, not the Krang, Utron, just to see this different side of this alien species, that their technology is different and it's unique to this series, which I really do like. Like, you get to see a lot more of the behind the scenes of how they operate. Like, back in the 2012 version, you got to see how the Krang operated to like a basic level, but this series, I think, does a really good job at like displaying of how their operations work and what they really are, and it just shows more vividly what the Utron really are and how they operate and how their technology runs on their technology. And it's just really interesting to find out all these different things, and it's just really more detailed as well, like a lot more detail, especially like with the different rooms of like the organicness, like the skin and the gooiness, and it's just really, really interesting to me. And I think this series tells a lot more than a 2012 did.
Yeah, I'll just say that with this fight, I do think that it's really great and really interesting. I do think that one of the best parts about this fight scene was the fact that it's again like something brand new for this universe, and not just I know like 2012 they reused like the villains over and over again with like Krang and the Foot Soldiers, but like having it here basically at the end of the season, we're going through all different kinds of creatures, underground monsters, Foot Clan, Pearl Dragons, and robots, and now we're going into the Utrom stuff. It feels like really like great and like so fresh and brand new, which is also really great. And I would say that like with the Utroms, I would like to say that there's a bit more variety compared to 2012 ones, where you just had the Krang either like shooting with the guns, or you had some other stuff like. But like with this one, it feels like so different. It also feels like there's like a lot more of a actual challenge here, because the Utroms even have like the electric stick. I can't remember in this episode they actually had guns or not, but there is a version, but in like the comics they had guns, and then also they fly this. So like I feel like there's a lot of like unique challenges which the Utrons can definitely possess for the Turtles. And also, it did make for the fights to be like so fascinating and really fun. And also, not to mention, because they are robots, this version of Turtles can be a lot more darker of how they fight, which is just great. So yeah, going into the next scene, we do get to see the Turtles do all catch up, and then that's when they go into the next room, and then it's revealed that Splinter is there. What do you think about that scene?
First of all, it was really creepy, because you got to see all these like different Utrons in like this suspended animation status, and it looked like, to be honest, I thought they were humans. Like, I thought they were like growing humans, which was really weird, because like I said, I immediately thought, OMG, this is the Matrix. This is how they make all their skin suits, and they dissect the humans and strip them of their skin. But no, it wasn't like that. My mind ran away with myself there. But really, it was really, really weird. When I saw Master Splinter in that pod, I'm thinking, this is really weird. Like, I was not expecting Master Splinter to be in this episode. I thought there was going to be another episode in which they find him again and they free him or whatnot. But to see him in this state, in this episode, was really creepy and eerie. to be honest. Like, he's in this room, he's connected to all these pipes and pods and chambers. It was really, really weird and cool at the same time. And to be honest, I really don't know what to say, what I just saw. It was very weird and completely unexpected to what I was actually thinking was going to happen. So, yeah, it was just completely out of it.
Yeah, to say that this scene, I don't really know how to best describe it, because it is just so uniquely great for what it does. I mean, for the reveal with Splinter, that's just amazing, but also like the Ultron stuff with like I don't know, I think like because the mystery is still there, you don't really know who the Ultron are, what they're doing and stuff like that, and you see all these like bodies there. I don't know, it creates like so much mystery behind it all, and even with that little bit there, like they actually never reveal why the Ultrons are in those pods, never reveal anything like that, so it's a lot more creepier, like, and I think that like the mystery behind all of it is just so great when you don't really know what it is or why everything's there. But I do think that the mystery that they have built up throughout this episode just keeps getting better and better the more you watch it, because you don't really know what's going to happen, you don't know who these characters are, and it just keeps working, gets better and better and better. And yeah, I don't really know what else to really say. It's just so great with the mystery that they build up. So yeah, then we do go into the final fight scene where the Ultrons come in, they're blowing up the building, the Turtles are fighting them, and that's when one of the Ultrons shoot Donnie. What do you think about that scene?
Yeah, it was really cool, and I'm not gonna lie, the Ultron, they spoke, and the weird thing about it wasn't annoying. Like, they didn't have that annoying voice. And it was really surprising to me that they didn't have they have their own voice, and they have their own little personalities, even though it was only brief and we only got to see like one or two Ultron communicate with one another. But it was really interesting, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, these things, whatever they are, these flying pieces of gum, they can talk and they don't have an annoying voice. Which is that is amazing, because I don't have to sit through and listen to an annoying voice of a voice box, and it was just really cool, and I completely wasn't expecting it. And of course, how they make the little joke to say, look, okay, we're not going to shoot anything because this stuff is important, so don't shoot at the equipment. And then of course one of the Ultrons shoots at the equipment, and literally everyone turns around and said, what did I just say? Like, it was just a small scene, but I just loved it. I just really did like how is like this one little guy has his own mind of his own and decides to shoot up the equipment that wasn't supposed to be shot up. And I don't know, it was just really nice it was like a little nice scene, and it just gave me so much thought on what these things are and how and what they're doing here. It just opened up a huge imagination and a whole arc in itself. And to be honest, if I were to say what I have in my head, we'll be here all night. So I'm not going to do that to you guys. But yeah, it was just really cool.
Yeah, I have to say though, with this fight scene, I think like what I've already said with the Leo and Raph stuff, it's just so great to see the Turtles a little bit out of their element, in like new location and like new way that they're fighting with new enemies, and having to be a little bit more darker because it's not actually real stuff. It was just so fascinating and great to see the Turtles be different and unique and just be like different. I think that's the best way of describing it. But also going off of like your comments about the Ultrons being different, as well as the all the them having different voices and stuff like that. I think this is like one of the best. I don't want to necessarily say the best aspects of the being 2D, of 2D, but I do think that helps it with the Ultrons having like more personality and stuff like that, and really just help them be more of like an alien race, which I think we're more used to in terms of like aliens being like that, with being different and more personal, or not, no, personal, I know, like, each of them being unique. And I would say that, like, with them having, like, already a really great cast, with them being able to do so many different voices, it was, like, so great to hear them have, different voices and stuff like that, and not just a typical I wouldn't say typical, but like, with what 2012 did, with just having one voice for all of them, I'll say that it just makes it feel more alien and more. I don't necessarily say realistic, but at the same time, there's just something about having different voices just makes it work. So then going into the final scene, I know we already talked about this off camera, and I know that I think you're a bit pissed about this, but the cliffhanger where the turtles get teleported. What do you think about that scene?
To be honest, I really don't know. This episode has left me so baffled and confused that I have nothing to say. That's the problem. Like, because I went into this episode completely blind and had no idea what was going to happen. It was just so weird just to see them like teleport and at first I thought they were getting disintegrated, and I'm like, oh my god, what is actually happening? Like, the turtles are getting turned blue and they're disintegrating into different particles and they're disappeared. And to be honest, I really didn't know it was a teleportation device until they actually disappeared. And it was really weird because I thought they'd actually been, disintegrated, but until I actually looked back at the scene and looked at what it was just so weird. And to be honest, I really didn't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It's super weird.
I mean, for me, I think that because we knew what was going to happen, it didn't really have that, oh my god, I can't believe, I don't know how to say it, but I mean, that because I already knew what was going to happen, I didn't really have any effects on me. And because I've read the comics before, and it's only just now I just realised, wow, this is so comic book accurate, and yeah, it's just amazing. So with that in mind, because this is the cliffhanger, what do you think will happen next? Because I've got a feeling that you have like so many theories going off in your head now.
Yes, I have so many theories and questions because, like, 1, where did they go? 2, where are they going to go? And 3, what is going to happen to April and Casey? And 4, what's going to happen to Master Splinter? He's still there in that status pod. And there are so many questions and answers that need answering. And it's just really confusing. I don't know what to say. I'm like going around in circles half the time trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay, so let's do a little bit of comparison. The 2012-2003 in terms of the like cliffhanger. We had this one where like setting up with Tails going off to who knows where, and the 2012 one doing like setting up the Eternal Drone might come back and all that. Which one would you say is a bit more, I'm saying better in terms of getting you more hyped for what's to come next?
I don't know. That's a really difficult question. Like, they are both good. Like, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy both the series, but overall, I've got to say it was the one that got me on the edge of my seat. Overall, was probably this episode. Like, even though I had no idea what was going on or where, or why it happened, it was just because it was more detailed in a sense. Like, a lot more detail, a lot more action was going on. And don't get me wrong, the 2012 episode, the 2012 episode finale that me and Teddy watched, it was just really good. And that also had a lot of great action in it, but I'm stuck. I don't know. I keep going around in circles, and they're both good. That's all I can say, is that they're both good, and I can't choose at this time to see which one is better than the other, because I don't know what's going to happen, or what's actually become of the turtles, or yeah, it's just really, I don't know I can't choose at this time.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so because this is season 9, we'll be talking about the whole season overall in next episode. We'll talk about the top 10 episodes. And what do you think about this episode overall?
Overall, I think it was a really great episode because we found a lot more stuff about the world of this series and this universe of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I believe it is really a good episode if you understand the backstory and lore, but to those such as myself who are going into this completely blind, it is very confusing, but a really great episode overall to watch.
Yeah, I have to say that this episode is really good for the mystery and stuff like that. I will say this, however, even though this episode is really good, I don't think this really works as the season finale. Don't get me wrong, I think the cliffhanger which I do set up for this episode was really great in terms of getting you hooked on what, and in terms of getting you hyped for the next season. But at the same time, I feel as though that many fans will agree that basically the Return to New York Part 3 was basically the season finale, and it feels as though that while this was a good story, it felt a little bit rushed in the first part in terms of getting to this point in the story. So, but at the same time, I don't really know how else they could have done it. So, yeah. Okay, so do you want to read out some comments?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's read out the comments.
Well, yeah, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure. I can read out a few. I'm going to read out the YouTube comments today. Let's see what we got. 4 Kids, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They said, although Return to New York is the true final of the first season, this is a very good finale.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to agree with that, but I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't really know how else they could have got up to this point for the for this Search for Splinter storyline if they were to do it as the beginning part of season 2. I just don't really know how else they could have done it. So I think I would say the way that I did do it, it was good enough.
Yeah. From Ronald Anderson, I feel bad for Splinter. Yes, I do kind of feel bad now that you say it. I do feel kind of bad. He's just sitting there and he has no idea what's going on with the world around him, and he's just floating there thinking, what's going to happen to me? He doesn't know his sons are trying to rescue him, and he doesn't know that his sons have been teleported to who knows where. And yeah, it is. I do feel bad for Splinter. Yeah.
I'm going off of that. Because you don't really know what's happening with Splinter, do you think he's dead or alive?
To be honest, I have no clue. I'm in two minds about this. One, I'm with Mikey. Oh my god, he's absolutely dead, and they've just put his body in this status pod for a sick joke or something. Or two, I'm gonna go with Donnie's idea, thinking, oh, he's in a suspended animation like in the Matrix, and he's in a virtual reality world or something along those lines. Those are my two ideas that I'm going off of right now. So it's hard to say at this point what's actually going to happen.
Okay.
Let's see who else we've got. iSpot7. I like Mr. Morto. Morto? Is that how you say it?
Mortu.
Mr. Mortu, thank you. That's his name. I kept calling him Uzo or Utron or something, because of the whole Utron situation. But anyways, I like Mr. Morto, and I noticed Morto is Utron spelled backwards. Wait a minute. Oh my gosh, yeah. Utron. Oh, how have I not noticed this until now?
Yep, some fun, amazing little details.
Okay, that is... Thank you, iSpot7, because I would have completely looked over that and not thought any wiser about that name. So, thank you for that. That's a cool little trivia I learnt today. And, of course, our final comment is Magma Straker. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering this name right now. I do apologise. This looks wrong. I believe that's supposed to be spelled wrong, but never mind. This looks wrong every way imaginable, and that comes from me. God knows that poor turtles think of this horrible event that is happening right in front of their eyes, especially because that is their father, their striped. Sorry, I think that's supposed to say stripped or stripped, unconscious, and in a pickle jar. God, I think I just made this worse for myself. Well, that is, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of true, Magma, and I do understand where you're coming from. Like, the poor turtles, like, they have no idea what the hell's going on, they have no idea where they're at, they have no idea what the heck just happened to them, and to be honest, they're probably just thinking, am I actually going to get out of here alive? And of course, the last thing they saw is their father in a status pod, or as in your terms, Magma, a pickle jar, which is a really good analogy, and I really do like how you've put Master Splinter in a status pod as a pickle jar. So, good points for humour there. But yeah, I do agree with you, Magma. Really do agree.
Yeah, I was to say, like, going off that comment, it really is like one, I think, like, if you explain, like, the whole Splinter situation, like, more explain, the more it gets worse. And it's sort of the whole situation with the Nano episode, like, the more you explain it, it gets darker and darker. So yeah. So, on Facebook, we have Aquaman Carnage. They put, poor Master Splinter, he must be really tired after long battles. Yeah. Aaron Cushion, they put, of all the thing, oh god, okay, oh god, okay, Aaron Cushion, they put, of all that things went from weird to freakish, especially when they thought that machine ripped toes apart at the end. Yeah, I mean, did you think that at first?
Sorry, what was that, Teddy?
So this person said it was a bit freakish just because they thought that the machine ripped the toes apart at first.
Yes, I thought this machine was like disintegrating them, like they were being like evaporated into like the atmosphere, and all that remains is like a pile of ash. But turns out it was a pile of smoke. So yeah, I got to agree with that comment.
So James Hunt, they put, it's a neat way to end season 1. And, I mean, I feel sort of I've already explained all I wanted to do about this bit. Okay, so going in for the trivia. Okay, so this story was based off of issue number 4 of the original comics, and I would say, like, nearly like quite a few scenes in that issue almost like adapted scene for scene into this episode, which, I mean, I must admit, like, as a comic book fan, great. Okay, so the next one, there isn't another true point, but I won't explain it because it spoils some stuff for season 2, but at the same time, you won't really know anything about it, so, yeah. So the other bit of trivia was saying that, and there's a neutron, in fact, that mutters the surname Newman under this breath, and they put that this is, of course, an obvious reference to a television show Senfield. I don't think I heard that bit in the show, but, well, it happened. Okay, so for the cast, we had Donatello voiced by Sam Riegel, Leonardo voiced by Michael Sinterklaas, Michelangelo voiced by Wayne Grayson, Raphael voiced by Frank Frankson or Gregory Abbey. For some reason, they have Splinter down for this episode, but he was not. Even though he was in the episode, he did not have any speaking parts. We had April O'Neil voiced by Veronica Taylor, we had Casey Jones voiced by Mark Thompson, and then for the Ultron side of things, we had the Guardian, which was voiced by Frederick B. Owens, we had the Ultron Council voiced by Darren Dunstan, and then we had Mr. Mortu voiced by Dan Green. Now, I can't remember if we did look into him at one point. I don't think we did, but I'm not too sure, because it feels like that we did. But at the same time, I don't think we did. I'm not too sure if we did look into Dan Green. So, yeah, should we look into Dan Green a bit?
Go on then, let's look into Dan Green.
Okay, so he was born in 1975. He's 45 years old, but also can be credited as Jay Snyder, which is interesting. And this actor was part of this show. He mainly did like backup voices, like all like additional ones, which are not part of the main show, but were there when they're needed. Then he's also another one of these people that has been in so many anime stuff, and like stuff that we've not really seen, but he's been Yu-Gi-Oh, Sonic. He's been a lot that we've not seen, which is a real shame. But yeah, looking at his IMDb now, it's really interesting. Also even Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm.
Professor Birch from Pokemon. I don't know if you've seen him as that, because I haven't really seen much of Pokemon.
Birch. Wait, sorry, what was that? Birch, did you
yes.
say? Birch. Birch. Hold on a minute. Give me a second, my brain's working at the moment. Birch, why did that name? I swear Birch is... Birch Pokemon Go. Ah, that's why. He's Professor Birch. He's from the Pokemon series. I thought he was one of the main... he may be the main... It's been so long since I've watched Pokemon Go, but yeah, Professor Birch was a character in the Pokemon series.
Yeah, just looking at his thing now, his one is like very impressive as well. A lot of stuff. But I got a feeling there's probably a majority of the stuff that we've not seen. For some reason, every time I click on to see more of his credits, I accidentally keep clicking on to shows that he's been a part of, which is really annoying. Okay. Let's see all of his stuff.
He has been in some video games. He has been as the Professor in the PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale game, which is interesting to know. Mobile Suit Gundam, sadly haven't watched that.
I think he did the voice of the Professor in the Garbage Man episode.
Did he? I can't remember.
I think he was.
Huh.
Yeah, he was actually. I'm pretty sure he is. Well, I hope so, at least. But yeah, his stuff is very impressive. What he's been part of. It's a shame that like we've not seen. I haven't seen more of his stuff. But yeah, so going in for the because I mean I've got a feeling we should probably move on just because I've got a feeling we're gonna be here for quite a while just looking at stuff and go, oh yeah, is it there? I haven't seen that. But yeah, so going into next week's episode for the podcast, it's a bit different just because again I know one of the things for like we've seen all the episodes, so now we're gonna go into top 10 episodes. I'm really curious to hear like your list because this season has been very interesting, and with the way that I've been talking about some of the episodes, I got a feeling it might be a bit difficult for you to make up a top 10 list.
Yes, I think it's going to be very difficult myself because it's just all of the episodes that I have watched have been excellent. They've been amazing. They've been awesome. There's action around every corner. There's a mystery around every corner, and it has been really interesting to watch a different part of this universe or this this whole TV franchise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And it's really interesting to go around and see what's new and see what's out there. And it's just been one roller coaster after another. So I definitely think it's going to be very difficult for me to pick out my top 10 next week.
I mean, I definitely have had my list planned for a while. Even before we even started watching the show, I already knew the episodes which were like top 10. I must be I would say for some of the ones near the bottom, I would say that maybe could play around, could be moved around depending on the day and stuff like that. But other than that, I would say I pretty much have my top 10 list. Yeah, if you do want to get onto the podcast, you can leave a comment on. You can do it on Reddit. You can do it on the YouTube community tab. You can do it on Facebook page. And yeah, I've been Teddy.
Now I've been Hayden.
and we'll see you soon. Goodbye, yo, bye.
Bye.